We are your robot overlords, come to take over the world.
Welcome to AT Banter, the podcast where we discuss anything and everything regarding the world of assistive technology. With our hosts, Steve Barkley, Rob Minot, and Ryan Fleury. Now, let's banter.
Well, here we are once again. Welcome to episode 14 of AT Banter.
14.
Yeah, we made it.
Getting there.
I'm Rob Minot, and today I'm joined by Ryan Fleury.
Hello.
And Steve Barkley.
Hidey-ho, neighbor.
And hey, it's the three of us. We're back.
We're back.
We haven't actually recorded together for a while.
And we're here to talk about robots.
That's right. Yes, this is going to be another episode in our speculative technology series.
Speculative?
Speculative?
What?
Speculative.
That's what I said, didn't it?
No.
Speculative.
No.
Speculative. Speculative?
Speculative.
Another episode in our speculative.
Speculative.
I'm going home.
Speculative sounds like some sort of gynecological.
Exactly. I was thinking how to say there's some sort of tool, you know.
Wait, wrong show. That's next week.
That's right. That's gynecology now.
That's right. Anyways, another episode where we talk about some of the possibly future tech stuff that's out there right now, but maybe talking about where it might go in the future.
Might not have been fully adopted yet. Might just be sort of funky, gnarly, but not mainstream.
In particular, robotics and robots.
Yeah. So, what is a robot?
Well, this. I thought this was important because really, if you think about it, and by definition, a robot can be anything from a Roomba to a drone. A drone would be considered a robot.
Sure. Manufacturing equipment.
Yeah, that's right. Those factory manufacturing robots. Hell, even your car could be considered have robotic.
Especially the autonomous cars now.
Well, certainly there's the autonomous cars, but I mean even the sense that there are things that it does automatically through
diagnostics and
right.
I suppose.
Sure.
I'll let you have that one.
Thank you.
You could consider it a exoskeleton on four wheels.
That's right.
There you go.
But, ROVs, those deep sea exploration vehicles, the remote controlled, I mean, those considered robots. So we're not just talking, a robot in the sense of something that is completely autonomous and walks around and has AI
But we will get to those.
Well, why don't we start at talk a little bit about something that I had no idea was out there, but is super cool. And actually, we've seen this concept in science fiction from the 50s and comic books for a long time, or that's the telepresence robots.
Yeah, so you can be there without actually being there.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a good substitute in lieu of, teleportation.
Very.
Teleporting would be really cool, though.
Oh, absolutely. But then there's always the question. If a teleporter takes you apart in one place and reassembles you in another place, if it doesn't do it with exactly the same atoms,
you're screwed.
Are you the same?
No. You have you not heard the thought? You're committing suicide every time you walk into a teleporter.
That's right.
True.
You're dying.
That's true.
You're
every single
dead.
time. Yeah, and being recreated on the other side.
Yep.
A whole new you.
A whole new you.
Yeah, terrifying.
It is.
It could be. We should try it.
Let's not.
No, I would never go on a teleporter. I won't even go on a plane.
Well, that's true.
Teleporter.
You're a fraidy cat.
It's not a fraidy cat. It's just, man.
Wasn't meant to fly?
If you thought about that plane as a robot, would it make you feel better?
I don't know. I don't think so. I'm suspicious of some of these robots, let alone a plane that flies by itself.
Yeah. So, telepresence robots. What are telepresence robots?
Well,
it's pretty much Skype on wheels, right?
Skype on wheels. Yeah. That's how one way it's been described.
Yeah.
I mean, allows you to virtually be in one place while existing in another.
Ooh, that's deep.
That is pretty deep.
Somewhat philosophical, almost.
It is essentially Skype on wheels. in a sense, but it's also a lot more interactive than that. So if you want to picture one of these things, it's essentially a pair of wheels with a pole in the middle of it with a tablet perched, like a tablet perched on the top of it, where the video image of the person on the other end is being portrayed that allows them to interact with the people around the robot.
That still sounds a lot like Skype on wheels.
It is. Well, it is. It is Skype on wheels, but it's a little bit more interactive than that because the person who's on the other end, they can drive
the robot.
Mm-hmm. They can, a lot of times the pole moves up and down or side to side, and so they can essentially, operate it like they were there.
Well, to me, I mean, that idea has been around for quite a while, and there's been a bunch of different companies that have been making stuff like that. And Grove and I actually joked about, getting one for the Whitby office and one for the Vancouver office, and then we could drive around each other's offices and annoy people. But
right.
But to be honest, I view that as one of the least interesting areas of robots. Like, it's Skype on wheels.
Yes.
But for somebody who's bedridden, they can still interact with their classmates if they're going to school. They still have that social activity, whereas they can't, be there in presence.
Yeah, you're true. That's true. We saw the video of the kid. He had cancer. And he was attending school via telepresence, which was pretty neat.
Yeah, which is, I think, a lot more, it is a lot more interactive than just doing like a distance education online program.
Right.
He's actually interacting with his classmates, laughing, joking, interacting with the teacher. It's a lot more involved.
That is true. And that does make an interesting usage case for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I think that you could apply that to the workforce too. You could have cases where you have somebody that's telecommuting for, because of, say, mobility issues. But with one of these things, they could do things like attend staff meetings or, attend group meetings or even just wander around the office and interact with coworkers and not feel isolated.
Very true.
Right now, the one we were looking at was the Double 2 by, I believe the company name is Double Robotics. And I mean, the thing retails for about $2,500, so they're not cheap.
It's not bad though,
Well, yeah, I guess if your workplace is gonna buy one for you, sure, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you consider cost of a tablet plus, cost of the thing to drive it around remotely. That doesn't seem unreasonable.
A camera on the other end.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and you can use it just using a laptop
That's
or even a smartphone, so you don't need to. There's no cost with that. There's no specialized equipment that you need other than the robot itself.
Can we get one?
I want one.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You just don't want to come into work anymore.
There's that.
If you get one, then you have to get a little mini one for Daisy.
Have it chase the couriers around.
That's right.
That's right. Again, I don't know if this is gonna develop into something where this becomes a lot more commonplace, or whether this is really just something that's a novelty. I mean, how long ago did you see these things?
Oh, at least 5 years ago.
Right. So it's hard to say.
Safe to say it hasn't taken off yet.
No.
But, as there's more usage scenarios for them, you never know.
Right.
Let's talk about robotic wheelchairs.
Mobility-related robotics, as I like to call them.
Yeah. Cool. There's some really neat stuff happening there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the one I thought that was really cool was the wheelchair that actually learns its routes. So if you're in a campus type scenario, GPS won't necessarily work. You can load the routes in. It learns the route as it goes along and can detect obstacles and differences in heights of curbs and doorways, and it learns all that, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, you're talking about the Vulcan Intelligent Robotic Wheelchair, which is a wheelchair that's being developed by the engineering department at the University of Michigan.
Yeah, and it actually scans your environment, so you can have somebody drive it around the environment. It actually takes measurements and details of the environment. And I believe you can put points of interest into it as well. So if you were, setting up a campus or something, you could set up these different points of interest, and a user of the wheelchair could just select a point of interest, and it would just drive them there automatically.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. But I mean, it also goes beyond that too, is that it also uses spatial knowledge to learn about the environment itself. And as it's driving, I mean, it's taking in the environment. It's detecting what's in front of it, what's to the side of it. It's anticipating. I forget, the video went into exactly how many things are running. I think it's something like 5 a second. It's gauging what's in front of it, what's around it, and then making decisions, course corrections, stopping, all depending on what it's sensing around it. So it's not even just driving from point A to point B. It's also literally driving the wheelchair.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's much like a self-driving car in that respect.
Right.
Yeah. You think about your average user of a powered wheelchair. Typically, they've got some sort of control system that they're using. But if they want to go forward, they've got to be pushing a joystick forward, for example, or they've got to have some other control that they're holding forward to continue to go forward. As soon as they release the control, they stop. And that probably leaves them vulnerable to repetitive strain injuries because they're constantly utilizing this control. And for people with more complex needs, some of those controls can get more complicated too. There's sit-puff wheelchair interfaces, for example. So something like this that just gives them a simplified way of starting out and allowing them to just sit back and enjoy the ride. That's pretty powerful for a good number of users. If they can make this technology more widely available in a wheelchair platform, there's a lot of possibilities for it. Not just in the sense of as a mobility device, but also as a more detailed mapping apparatus for the world at large. You think about the number of people who are driving around in things like scooters, wheelchairs, various motorized mobility products. If you could build this into it and have it constantly scanning the environment, you could produce incredibly detailed urban maps.
Right.
Like essentially Google Maps on steroids, where, not only does it know the street and the address, but it also knows, where the curb cutouts are. It knows
where there's a pothole.
Where there's a pothole, where there's a crosswalk. It could be very, very powerful for gathering data.
But I mean, you're right. I mean, if they can build a sensor platform that would work for this chair, and they could transplant that into some other device, even if it's like a wearable vest that is able to scan the environment and create
a virtual rendering,
right?
Yeah,
that can then guide. I mean, you could make a blindness vest for that.
There is a vest I read about yesterday. I think I was looking at it, and I don't know if it was in one of the links you had sent. It was something different, but again, it was basically almost like sonar. So it would detect things in front of you, below you, try to do things above you within a certain range, and it would vibrate or inform you somehow that there was an object in your way.
Right. And even with guided chairs, even with something that you're actually physically driving, if you do have those sensors that can help you auto-correct or something, I mean, it could help people who maybe have some control but not full control, so that it's sort of a self-correcting auto, almost like a cruise control.
Yeah, sort of like the driver assist systems that they've been putting into cars of late.
Right.
They're not fully autonomous driving vehicles, but they'll keep you from wandering out of your lane or crashing into the car in front of you.
That's right.
So another one that you found was the Tech Robotic mobilization device from Mattia Robotics. It's not actually a wheelchair per se, as almost
it's a motorized platform.
Yeah, it's a motorized platform, but it allows you to sit, stand, travel upright, travel sitting if you want to.
That's right.
Lean back, reach down, and the example in the video we watched had a C7 quad, so he was paralyzed from the waist down. So he had full upper body mobility, but this would drive him around and also let him stand up, as well as reach down, pick something up off the bottom shelf. It was pretty neat.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I was leery about actually including that because technically it doesn't really feel like it's actually a robot in the sense that what we're talking about. But the flip side of that, it kind of is, because you can bring the platform to you. Like, there's that ability where if you're in your chair, you have the remote control, you don't have to drive to the platform. It's kind of like almost like a drone ability in that sense. But
well, it's maybe not a robot per se. I mean, it's fully controlled by the driver, right?
Right.
Whether by remote control or by the controls on board. But it is a very different take on a wheelchair that's using robotic components to, deliver a smaller footprint,
right,
wheelchair that can get you into smaller spaces, a little more mobile, a little more agile.
Well, and it's good for people in chairs too, because typically it's good for them to get out of the chair for a certain number of hours every day anyways
Otherwise you're getting, bed sores essentially. And
right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it would even help in that regard too. So it's pretty slick. But, you wonder, you see a lot of these ideas and, in doing the research for this, it's not even the tip of the iceberg in terms of what's going on out there in terms of robotics. I mean, we've picked a few examples here and there, but they're all, all the major universities all have, engineering and robotics departments that are working on things, and it's pretty amazing. And actually a lot of this robotic stuff, I mean, it's coming out of Japan, right? Like even we'll talk a little bit about the robotic guide dogs, but that's all coming out of Japan.
Yeah, they seem to be really on the forefront of robotics. And I personally blame manga and Transformers and stuff like that, because they've been imagining and reimagining robots for years and years and years.
Well, did Ryan send you the video of again, it was a Japanese company that made the 12-foot robot that you climb into and operate?
He didn't send that one to me, but I have seen it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for, what is that, $120,000, one of them can be yours, I think.
Yeah.
It's essentially...
it's Iron Man.
Yeah. Well, without the rockets, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you put rockets in that thing, man, I'll be lining up.
Jetpack.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Have to be a big jetpack.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Can't you just see that, somebody's bullying you at school? It's like, all right.
Yeah.
Chunk, chunk,
I'll be back.
Chunk, chunk, chunk.
Stay right there.
Say it again.
Even in the video, though, itself, I mean, it doesn't. I don't think it ever moves. I think they raise the knees up and down, and they open the door, and the guy climbs in, and so it never really shows it walking around. So I'm a little skeptical of it.
Okay.
So I think they still have some work to do in that regard, but still, hey, it's on the way.
It'll get there. I mean, there's all kinds of different exoskeleton projects as well, right? For, again, a lot of it's being driven by veteran affairs money in the U.S.
Yes.
Wounded warriors coming back and being paralyzed, and they're doing some very cool stuff with powered legs for paraplegics that'll get them up walking around. Did we cover the virtual reality training for paraplegics in a previous episode?
No, we didn't.
We didn't. Okay. So there's a training system that is you wear VR goggles, and the VR goggles show you a picture of your feet, and by concentrating on them, you can move the virtual feet. Well, what they're finding is that this was originally developed for systems like this, these exoskeletons, to give people a way to control the exoskeleton. So you would practice on this virtual reality thing, and then in reality you would slap on these things, and feeds from your neural systems would power the feet. What they've discovered is just having the virtual reality component of it is actually bringing back some people's connections to their legs, and they're starting to develop movement in their legs after they've been paralyzed.
Wow.
Which is really interesting. They're not to the they've never. I don't think they've ever had a case where they've gotten somebody back to the point where they can walk again. There's still physical damage that is not allowing them to walk, but it is interesting that it's having this profound effect on the neuropathy.
Right. Well, even we talked a little bit about in the brains episode, we talked about the guy that was fitted with essentially a robotic arm, a robotic bionic arm, right? And so that that's robotics as well.
Yeah.
And again, right at the forefront of what can be done, building cyborgs.
Yeah. And the robotic hand technology is really improved over the last bunch of years. They now have ones that you can actually have a sense of feeling with.
Yep.
A sense of touch, pressure, for picking things up, so you're not crushing your neighbor's hand. Hey Bill, how are you?
I was fine.
Yeah. Now I need one of those.
Got a spare one?
Of all of the things that we looked at as we were looking at these different types of robots, the one that I thought was coolest was the Obi, robotic dining companion. As long as I've been in this in this industry, the one condition that I find most frightening is ALS.
Right.
Because it's just relentless and progressive, and you lose more and more of your ability over time, and until ultimately you can't breathe independently. And for somebody who's suffering from ALS, this Obi robotic dining companion, it has a spoon and 4 trays. You put the food in the trays, and then the caregiver just basically takes the spoon and puts it in your mouth, and that's how it calibrates to know where it's supposed to deliver the food to.
Right.
And then it starts feeding you. And it's got a specially designed tray so that it's got a little lip on it, so it can pick up the food more effectively. It's a really cool design, and it's fairly small. It's not a big item, and I think it was. If I recall, I went on the website. I think it was $4,500 US.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I didn't even check the price.
Yeah, it wasn't an outrageously expensive robotic aid, but the effect it could have on somebody's life. The guy in the video talks about how nice it was to be able to sit there and eat a meal, and have his wife sit there and eat the meal with him, rather than her having to feed him.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a simple task and a simple concept.
Yeah, but very elegantly done. Now, the ones that creeped me out were the companion pets.
Really? I don't know. Yeah. I found these the most interesting, actually.
I was saying to Rob, we should get a robot cat for the office. And then Daisy can chase it around.
Oh, are you kidding? Daisy would tear it apart.
It's a robot. She can't hurt it.
I mean, really, what's wrong with a real cat?
Well, there's nothing wrong. Well, no.
You got to feed them. You got to bathe. Well, you don't bathe them, but you got to change the litter.
Oh, exactly.
It's work. Robot cat, you just plug it in, unplug it.
It's part of a creature-to-creature interaction, though.
No.
Robot pet. Honestly,
cat.
It's no better than the robot sex bot.
They were talking about the robot cat being used in therapy for seniors.
Well, yes, and that's okay. So we should back up. We should back the truck up. Because that's obviously what the purpose of these things is. I don't think they'll ever build. Well, I shouldn't say that, because they could. We could get to a point where they actually, where we just live, in the world of Blade Runner, and they do just make
artificial
animals.
Sure.
But that's not what we're going to talk about. These are really, they're designed as therapy robots. So what we were talking about the Hasbro has one that's called the Joy for All Companion Pet, and it's basically a robot cat. Very simplistic, but they've been using it in old age homes. The thing itself, I mean, it has realistic fur, and it has sensors that respond to motion and touch. So it kind of will act like a real cat. You pet it, it'll purr, it'll detect motion, it'll meow.
They said that behavior was random, though, too. So you're not going to get sick and tired of all the time you pet it, it purrs, you pet it, it purrs. You know, they said that was random. So, you know, it behaves in that way a little bit more like a real animal.
Right. And the idea is that it can garner the positive emotional response that you get from having an animal, but without all the care that would be involved. So you could leave it with a senior, say, with dementia, and not have to worry about.
A retirement home could actually purchase a couple of these, and they don't have to worry about bringing therapy animals in. They don't have to worry about feeding them or people being afraid of them.
Well, you got to recharge them.
Well, yeah, but how many people are afraid of a battery charger?
There could be a phobia for that, actually. There probably is.
We should look that up.
Probably.
I'm going to look that up right now. I bet it's a thing.
It probably is.
Get that iPhone away from me.
But yeah, you know, therapy animals are only good for a certain number of hours in those settings. So a robot cat or robot dog might just be what the doctor ordered.
This Hasbro one, I mean, it's a low end. I mean, it's about $100. It's probably not going to fool anybody. You're never going to think that it's an actual cat.
Well, I didn't find a name for fear of battery charger, but I did find nomophobia, which is your fear of losing your phone.
Oh,
nomophobia.
Nomophobia.
So you just never take it anywhere.
That's right. I stay in the closet.
I have a phone, but it's in a drawer. It's locked away because I can't lose it.
And I would charge it, except I'm afraid of the charger.
That's right.
Why is there no name for that?
That's right.
Oh, my.
See, in that case, you would just build a phone into the therapy robot animal, into the cat.
Mm-hmm. And just use voice activation. Say, call Joey.
Meow.
What else do we want to say about these?
Damn it, call Joey. Meow. Damn it, call Joey. You're just like a real cat.
Yeah, that's right. Doesn't listen to a damn thing. It'll phone Joey at 3 a.m.
And then hang up on him as soon as he answers.
Rob, why is your cat calling me at 3 a.m.?
That's right. So there's that one. There's also a more heavy duty, and again, this is I think developed by a Japanese company, robotics company, and it's a therapeutic robot named Paro, and it's a robotic baby seal.
Which, of course, the Canadian in me immediately wanted to club.
Of course. Yeah. That's right. No matter what Paul McCartney says.
You can't do that to a baby seal.
They make excellent jackets.
They're so cute and white. And
Steve at aroga.com. All you PETA people. 5% discount on the first 100 PETA members that email Steve.
And that's not pita bread.
Not a PETA bread. That's true. Why is it PETA and not PETA?
I don't know.
It should be PETA.
It should be.
Where were we? Oh, yeah. Okay. We were talking about Paro
Paro, the therapeutic robot.
Seal.
The robotic baby seal. Which you just can't use in Canadian old age homes.
That's right. We're just kidding. Well, no, you can, but you can beat this thing, apparently.
Really?
Yeah. They actually use the term
Soft and
beat
squishy.
in the marketing materials, which I changed to hit. Because I just thought that sounded pretty terrible.
Sounds so wrong.
It does, but so the idea, like the thing has 5 sensors. It has a tactile, a light, an audio, a temperature, and a posture sensors, all built into it. So it can detect It can detect light and dark. It can detect whether it's being stroked or beaten. It will recognize voice. It knows if it's being held. It'll track your movements. So it's a pretty complicated little piece of machinery, which is why I think it's $5,000.
Ooh.
Yeah, but it can learn too. I mean, if you stroke it when it does one action and hit it when it's doing another, it will try not to do the action that it got beat for. So you can actually train it.
See,
but that's creepy.
You see, to me, this almost sounds like a Japanese solution for the Canadian seal hunt. Like they've basically said, we got to get these guys to stop, man. How are we going to do it? Well, we'll come up with a baby seal that will reward them when they treat it nicely, and it'll
crap all over their shoes.
I don't know. It could work. We haven't heard about the seal hunt for a while.
That's right. Well, is it still going on? I don't know if it's still going on.
No, me neither.
I don't think there's a market for seal anymore.
No, I guess not. Moved on to ivory.
Maybe.
Rhino tusks. And shark fin.
Bear
shark
penis.
Fin. Bear
gallbladder.
A bunch of bears sighing relief. Yeah, there's like, whoa, hey, buddy.
Well, did you
ixnay on the Enos pay?
did you hear about the increase in the number of bears in BC? Like the bear population in BC is going up dramatically because of Viagra.
What?
Yeah,
they're getting it in garbage cans and stuff.
No,
there's just somebody feeding them Viagra.
No, come on. No, it's a direct result of Viagra hitting the market that bears are not being hunted for their gallbladders anymore, because previously the traditional Chinese medicine said that a bear's gallbladder was a boner pill.
Right.
So people wanted these bear gallbladders, and they were being poached all over the place. When Viagra came out, it's like, oh, here's a little blue pill. I can just take that and don't have to do any more that gross bear gallbladder.
Right.
So now they're not being hunted, and the bear populations are going up.
Wow, that's interesting.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, anyways, we were talking about the robotic baby seal. Okay.
Oh, we're back to that again, aren't we?
Well, we have to. We have to finish talking about this. We keep getting sidetracked. But, yeah, it's interesting. Like, there's something about these therapy robots that I think there's really something to these. We talked about dementia and the effect that music can have on dementia sufferers. And from all the evidence, interaction with animals does much of the same things. I mean, there's a lot of evidence that shows that interaction with therapy animals can help lower blood pressure, reduce depression, reduce pain, can improve the time it takes to recover from surgeries. There's all kinds of health benefits that interaction with therapy animals have shown. So the trouble with therapy animals, though, is that it's always a limited time that they can bring them into the homes. Usually it's once a week for a couple hours. All the residents have to kind of take their turn with the animal. Something like this, something like a robotic therapy animal that can garner all those positive results, but is something that can just be left at the home or left in somebody's room overnight, and you don't have to worry about the animal itself. I mean, there's a lot of benefit that could be gained from that.
I'll grant you that there's definitely been proven benefits to these animals in therapy situations. But I mean, wouldn't you kind of be worried about, the dementia patient gets up the next morning, the battery's died on the cat, and the cat's lying there dead, and now they're freaking out because they've got a dead cat in their room? I mean,
it's possible.
I don't know. It just seems like it could be fraught with problems.
Well, and I did read a side article talking a little bit about the ethics of this, in terms of if the dementia patient doesn't know that it's a robot, is that ethical?
Who cares? We're talking about the well-being of the patient.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think
the ethics are speaking to the well-being of the patient as well.
But who's to determine what's good for you, what's good for me?
Ethnologist?
I don't know. An ethics person.
An ethics person. Look up the word. There's a word for that.
An ethics bot.
One thing we haven't touched on are the Asimov's 3 laws of robotics.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that was something we talked about. Now, this is what he came up with in his 1942 short story Runaround. He came up with 3 simple rules. He came up with 3 different laws for robots, which were integral to them interacting with humans. 1, a robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm. 2, a robot must obey the orders given it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. 3, a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second laws.
Right.
Now, that's a fairly good set of rules for robots.
I don't think anyone has ever come up with anything better.
No. But, or at least not that I've read, but we'll probably get email.
Probably.
Yeah. The 57 new rules of robotics.
That's right.
But does it disturb you guys at all that one of the main uses for robots these days is military hardware?
Yeah, that seems to be where all the money is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because they are definitely not building artificial intelligence into those things that's complying with those 3 laws.
Not at all.
They're being made to go out and
destroy,
kill people, destroy things, and essentially sanitize war so that people don't have to do it on a personal level.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that's a very disturbing development in our use of this technology.
It's almost, I almost feel like that's the main thrust of developing the technology in the first place. I mean, we sort of get the spillover of that in terms of, the technology for therapy robots and stuff like that. But I mean, really, they're standing on the technology that was developed initially by the military.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We're going down the wrong path.
We are. Oh, Trump. Just kidding.
Trump. Maybe he's a robot.
Hey.
There's
maybe.
a rumor.
That would actually explain a lot.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying he's a robot.
Is there proof he's not?
That's right.
We've never seen him bleed.
He should have to produce his schematic.
That's right.
Or give us an oil sample.
Yeah, what kind of therapeutic robot would he be? I can't see him lowering anybody's blood pressure. This is actually something that was a little bit of a controversy. Why can't I talk today?
I don't know.
I'm mush mouth today. Yeah, maybe the chilies made my I've been being mocked by my coworkers, and I'm self-conscious. Maybe that's what
that's what time we turn the mocking around.
I need it. Where's my therapy seal?
That's right.
Yeah, robot. Okay, so this next robot was a bit of a controversy when. Wow. Okay. I'm not even doing a take 3. I'm just saying something different. Okay. So let's talk robotic guide dogs.
I hear they're controversial.
They are. They are. I've actually posted a bit of a teaser a few weeks ago, and people kind of really responded to it in a negative sense, in the terms of, I don't get the sense that a lot of blind people really like the idea of robotic guide dogs.
Which makes no sense to me.
Really?
None at all. I think robotic guide dogs are the way to go.
Well, you think about it. I mean, you can probably build a robotic guide dog with the technology that's out there now that could be pretty darned effective, and less prone to things like, going and chasing a cat.
Chasing cats, illnesses, having to go to the vet and pay vet bills, having to feed them, clean up after them, dying. You build that bond 8, 10, 12 years down the road. You got to let the dog go. You know,
Yeah, they're incredibly expensive to train.
they are. Yeah.
And being living creatures, they have all their little foibles, but I think that's probably why people are so defensive of them, because they bond with them.
Absolutely.
You know,
Right.
You're not going to form a bond with a robotic
No.
dog unless they make it look just like a dog.
But
And
then again,
when
are
you
you-
pat it goes,
Well, see, if,
Right.
if they can tie in the therapy animal robotics aspect of it and make it look like a dog.
But then, you know, I'll throw this at you. Why are you getting a guide dog? Are you getting a guide dog so you have a dog as a pet and a companion, or are you getting a dog to be used as your tool to get you from A to B?
well, maybe it's a bit of both.
Maybe.
You know, everybody I've known with a guide dog, without exception, loves their guide dog.
Yes.
It's part of the family.
Yes.
So, you know, there's definitely a bond. So I think I think they're pretty much inseparable when it's a living animal.
But if you were to replace it with a guide dog, you may not have that bond, but I would almost, I think myself, put more trust in a robot guide dog than I would in a living creature, because it's not going to be distracted by surroundings. Guide dogs are prone to distractions.
That's true.
Well, we should step this back a bit and acknowledge at least that the technology for an actual robotic guide dog, we're still a long ways away. I mean, if you look at any of the stuff online about some of the Japanese developers of these, they look like vacuum cleaners or garbage cans. I mean, these are not, and they're very limited in what they can do. I mean, they were really sort of still at the infancy of this technology, right? Like we said, I mean, you'd have to get some sort of a sensor, you know, a foolproof sensor bed to put in one of these things that could, you know, instantly read the surroundings, respond to the surroundings like a living animal could, and as fast, in order to be as effective a guide dog. And we're not even close to being there, but they're working on it.
I think they could respond a lot faster because
Well,
they're
I don't know about
computers.
Potentially. And they might be able to make more informed decisions too by pulling in more data and being able to process it in a more meaningful way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you are somewhat limited in a dog's cognitive ability to assess a situation, which you might be able to overcome with technology.
Mm-hmm.
But that remains to be seen. We're
I
not
don't
there
know.
yet.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with you guys on that one. I think the brain is a very powerful computer, and we've yet to build a computer that's as good as a brain, even a dog brain.
I don't know. I'd say my laptop's at least as smart as Ryan.
Oh, at least.
Kidding.
I thought you were going to say Daisy, but you went right to Ryan.
Zing.
He wouldn't insult his dog. Come on. He's got that bond thing going.
That's right.
Yeah, that is interesting, and we'd be interested to hear what other people think about that. So, hey, if you have an opinion on whether or not you would want a robotic guide dog,
Yeah, let's do a poll. If you could have a robotic guide dog that
Capable of doing everything your dog does,
yeah,
would you choose a robotic guide dog over a living creature?
yeah, but nobody's going to say yes to that because they all, like you said, they all love their guide dogs. But okay,
but again,
say if they had to start, okay,
But I'm going to bring it back again. Why are you getting the guide dog? Because you want a pet? Or is it
okay.
your tool?
so okay, let's step it back. Okay, so so if you have a guide dog, you wouldn't have to replace your guide dog.
Right.
Say you had to get a new guide dog.
yeah.
Would you be open to getting a robotic guide dog
Right.
over a real guide dog
Right.
if it was cheaper?
Well, I think they're subsidized for the most part, anyways, aren't they?
In
a lot of
totally
cases.
paid for, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so never mind cheapness.
So it's a wash. It's a wash right across.
But then again, you think about it, the training that goes into a guide dog, $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 per dog. At what point, does it make more sense to create a robot guide dog? Electronics would be cheaper. Again, you're saving on food, vet bills, care. You're not going to have the issues you have with getting into taxis or buses because of fur, religious preferences. There's a lot of bonuses to having a robot guide dog.
Of course, if you have all that technology, if you have, all of this sensor technology available to you, do you need a dog or do you just need a wearable computer that can
Right.
inform you about your surroundings.
That would work too.
Chances are they could have a vest or some sort of, even a smart cane that would be able to do everything that a guide dog would be able to.
That would be cool.
So we might not, in the future, you might be able to forego the idea of a guide creature at all. What are they?
We need to put our heads together, guys.
Yeah, we do. They should have guide raccoons. Can you train a raccoon? Because
Have you seen how
there's
many-
a lot of raccoons around.
Have you seen
that are
how many
just
get
eating-
hit on the roads?
that are- well,
That's true.
what you
They
train
don't
them.
seem to be real good at crossing roads.
Well, it's because they haven't been trained. I'm telling you, they eat a lot of garbage. We could save 2 problems right there. We could get rid of the raccoons eating the garbage, and we could get trained raccoons.
They got those creepy little hands, though.
Yeah, but they can grab stuff off the shelf for you. You go shopping and be like, "Hey, go get me some jam."
Yeah. Oh, great. Dog food again.
That's right.
We're coming up with $1 million ideas out of this podcast.
That's right.
Today, I tell you.
Robot raccoons.
This last one, I don't know. Did you guys watch the video of this one?
Which one's this?
This is one where they've taken basically manufacturing robots and they're working on sort of.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did see this one. Yeah. And I didn't really get it either.
I didn't really get what they would do. Like there are these manufacturing robots that this company called Rethink Robotics have developed, and they're very cool, but they're essentially manufacturing robots. I'm sure everyone's seen them and heard of them, but they're just like basically arms that will pick something up off a conveyor belt and put it on something else, and they do that repetitively so that some poor human doesn't have to do it. So what they've done is they've taken, and the robots have gotten very, very sophisticated from, because these things have been around since the 50s probably, right?
Yeah, I don't know when they started bringing in robotics for automotive
Maybe it's a little
purposes.
bit
I think
in the
that was one of the
50s.
earlier.
So maybe
things.
80s, somewhere down the line. But now they can.
Although they did have the Waldos for nuclear material, and that would have been the 50s.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they probably had like very rudimentary ones.
That might even be in the 40s. So, yeah. Anyways, carry on.
But these days, I mean, they're very easy to train. You basically, in a way, it works a lot like the Obi dinner robotic companion, in that you can just train it. You just tell the arm what you want it to pick up, where you want it to put it. It programs it all in on the fly, and away it goes.
Is this the one I was thinking of as well that was giving directions?
That's right.
People
Well,
were
that's
walking up to it and asking directions, and it would use its hand to
That's
kind
right.
of give tactile directions as well. It was another case where I think it was meant to be kind of a stationary guide robot to.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Walmart greeter robot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this university, where was it? Carnegie Mellon University. They've taken one of these robots and they're using it as a research robot, and they're trying to develop a blindness aid for travelers with it. And that's exactly it. They use the arm to sort of help guide. I guess essentially give you a tactile representation of directions. I'm not exactly sure how it would work, but
Yeah, it was the demonstration I saw. It was taking somebody's hand and it was giving them directions on the palm of their hand. So it was basically, go this way and then turn left, and
60 meters.
yeah.
Go up this way, and
So, which was interesting, and it was a voice queried system as well. You could walk up to it and ask it a question. The other example they had for it as well was they put 2 bus passes down in front of it and said, "Hey, which bus pass is the one I need for today?" And,
right, and it would say, "I slid your ticket in front of you." Yeah. So interesting. I mean, it kind of reminded me of Total Recall and the automated robot taxi driver a little bit. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
I remember it, but
Yeah. Anyways,
Vaguely.
But so again, hey, there you go. There's something else. Robotic taxi drivers.
yep.
There's a lot of potential there.
Yeah. So if we're not going to talk about sex bots, we should at least talk about robots in popular culture.
So, what is your favorite robot, Steve?
My favorite robot.
What comes to mind when you think robot?
Oh, let me see.
Tough one.
Well, favorite robot though. That's a tough one.
Oh, come on. Let's list them off. Let's see. There's Cylons.
See, I don't think I had a
they're
favorite.
Scary.
But the first thing that came to my mind was Twiggy.
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 He was the dog on Buck Rogers.
That was Tweaky.
Tweaky.
Twiggy?
Twiggy.
Twiggy.
Yeah, Twiggy's a
Twiggy.
British model.
Yeah, I was like, Twiggy.
She's cute too.
Twiggy's a robot?
Didn't you know?
Fembot?
Twiggy.
Tweaky.
Twinkie.
Yeah.
Tweaky.
Twinkie.
Not Twinkie.
Twiggy.
Twiggy.
Bitty, bitty, bitty. No, that's the other guy.
No, that's right. You're
Is
right.
it?
No, that's right.
No, he wasn't. Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Bitty, bitty, bitty.
Let's see. What else? What are the robots?
Classic R2-D2.
Of course.
C-3PO.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Of course,
BB-8.
RoboCop.
RoboCop.
Now, no. I'm gonna have to throw down.
Oh, yeah. You're going to call out the cyborg
It's
card there.
It's
Yeah,
a cyborg. He's a cyborg.
Well, technically, anybody with a robotic limb is a cyborg.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Still robotics.
Yeah, but it's not a robot. Like, say, well, Terminator.
Terminator's a robot.
Yeah, he is a robot.
Yep. Right down to his processing
wait
chip.
a minute. Hold on. But if he has organic skin over an steel exoskeleton, when he has the skin on, I think technically he's a cyborg, right?
I guess it depends on if it's living skin or not.
I think it's supposed to be, right? That's
I don't know.
Oh, maybe it's not. I don't know. Well, I'll have to go back and watch my Terminator
I guess so.
Blu-ray.
What was it? Sentinels?
Sentinels.
The Matrix?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. They were freaky scary.
They were.
Yeah.
Very Octobot-like, too.
Yes, indeed.
Maybe that's where that's going. Maybe that's where they got the idea.
Maybe.
Could explain why they're so angry. They're full of hydrogen peroxide.
That's right. I'd be angry, too.
Yeah.
And very fizzy, very gassy.
Yes, yeah. What other robots we got out there?
Let's see, Kit? Was Kit? Yeah, Kit's
Kit
a
the
robot.
car,
Kit
yeah.
the car's a robot.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
And there's Optimus Prime.
Of course, all the Transformers.
Yep.
Well, okay. Yeah, I guess so.
They're robots.
Yeah, but aren't they? But they're sentient. Aren't they from? They're aliens.
Well, that's true.
They're alien robots,
There you
Are
go.
they alien? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
and more than meets the eye.
Yeah.
Although I never understood that because they seemed exactly like what met the eye. Like, look, that robot just transformed into a truck.
Okay.
Does that make him more than meets the eye? I don't know. It just met my eye. So I was,
Where's the more?
what more now?
Yeah, see, they don't have good robots these days. All the good robots are out of the 80s.
There's the robot in Short Circuit.
Oh, yeah. Number 5. Number 5 is alive.
Johnny 5.
Wow.
What about, what was that South African chappie?
Oh yeah, I didn't
see that.
see that because I heard it was terrible.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, that is.
There was Polly's robot in Rocky 4 or 5 or whatever it was.
Yeah. The 80s robot.
Yeah. They're all 80s robots. Except for the
The
show I'm thinking of. Battlestar Galactica.
Cylons.
Yes.
What was that movie with the robot on the planet that all the humans had left? They were all living on a big starship. It was an animated one.
WALL-E.
WALL-E.
Of course, how could you forget WALL-E?
Oh, yeah, WALL-E's terrific.
I feel like we're forgetting important ones.
Oh, I'm sure we
We're
are.
going to kick ourselves.
Yeah,
later.
we're going to miss all kinds of...
So send us feedback. Tell us your favorite robot.
Where would they send us that feedback, Ryan?
They can send it to atbanterpodcast@gmail.com.
They could also visit us at www.atbanter.com.
Woohoo. All right. Famous robots from TVs and movies. Oh, well, going way back, the robot from Metropolis,
Oh, yeah.
1927. That's going back a ways. Forbidden Planet, the robot in Forbidden Planet from 1956.
Yeah, I know that one well. Named after me.
iRobot, they finally made a terrible movie out of Isaac Asimov's work in 2004.
That was very terrible.
Yeah, poor Asimov, he just can't get a break. The robot from The Day the Earth Stood Still, Klaatu
Klaatu.
Barada Nikto.
Right.
Westworld, which they're remaking now too.
They are. It's an HBO show that's coming out. Yeah.
Oh, it's not going to be a movie. It's going to be
It's an HBO
TV series.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. The Iron Giant. Oh, one of my favorites.
Right.
The Iron Giant from 1999 is, if you haven't seen it, it's a terrific movie. Fantastic. Go out, get it right now. It's hysterical.
And that's what it's called, the Iron Giant?
The Iron Giant.
Never heard of it.
Well,
What?
You need to.
Never heard
Oh,
of it.
yeah. You got
need to get out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bicentennial Man,
Oh, my. What?
the robot played by Robin Williams.
Yeah. Oh, hey. What about AI?
AI, yeah.
The artificial. Yeah, that was. Yeah.
Yeah. There was the robot in Prometheus, and also, of course, the artificial life forms in Aliens.
Yep. And Alien. Yep.
Yeah.
Because in the future, robots will be made of milk.
Why not? I'm looking at a list of movies here, and there's some movies that have robots in them that I've never seen and look terrible.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like Robot Overlords from 2014. Oh, Real Steel.
Oh, yeah.
Fighting
yes.
robots in Real Steel.
Yes,
Yeah. That was entertaining.
it was.
Ex Machina.
Oh, yeah, that was a good movie.
Was it? I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah. Oh, Big Hero 6.
Oh, yeah. Another
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah. That'll make you cry.
Baymax.
Yeah. How about the movie Robots? Animated. Robin Williams.
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
Yeah. The Avengers, Age of Ultron.
Of course.
How did we miss Ultron? And The Mechanical Man from 1921.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? Chomps, the dog robot.
Don't know.
What movie is that from?
Chomps, 1979.
Really?
Yeah.
I missed that one when I was a kid. Damn.
Probably answers all our questions about robotic dogs, too.
Bad idea.
We should review. Oh, yeah. So there's just a smattering of different robots. I'm sure other people will come up with other robots from pop culture. Send us your robot stories. Unless they involve sex bots. Don't send us the sex bot stories.
Oh, you can send me the sex box stories. That's
Okay, you send it.
Rob@aroga.com.
Rob@aroga.com. There you go.
All right. So that is going to about do it for us. You can email us at Ryan.
atbanterpodcast@gmail.com.
You can visit us at www.atbanter.com.
You can check us out online on YouTube, Google+, Twitter, and Facebook.
And you can do whatever else you want.
And of course, if you're in the market for assistive technology, you can always go to www.aroga.com and buy our stuff. Now with financing packages.
That's right. Very exciting.
Yes, we're very thrilled.
All right. Well, I have been Rob Minot.
I'm Ryan Fleury.
I am also Rob Minot. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm Steve Barkley. Who am I kidding?
He's an evil robot. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.
This podcast has been brought to you by Aroga Technologies. Visit Aroga Technologies online at www.aroga.com. That's AROGA.com. Music provided by bensound.com.